Hello everyone, and welcome to my video. In this one, I'd like to run through the MicMac tutorial that shows how to use ground control points and how to create an orthophoto. Over here on the left is the image set. I've already downloaded it from this link here in the tutorial. It has the images, and it comes with a set of measurements. You can open up here, take a quick look, and that just shows the X, Y, and Z coordinates of the points that they marked in the images. And it also includes a set of PDF files. The tutorial uses facade number 1. We would take a look. This shows where they define the locations of the points for facade number 1. And then each individual point has a photo. And if I zoom in, you can see the little dot that they put there. And they provide the XYZ coordinates of that point to be used later. Okay, let me get this out of the way and get started. Okay, I'm going to start by clearing the files and copy images. Okay, it brings those in. It found a 35mm equivalent, so it's okay that it didn't find it in the database. I'm going to close that. Go over to the type point step. According to their instructions, I'm going to set the scale to 2000 for the final scale or final image size, and 600 for the small scale. Have all the images selected and go ahead and run it. Okay, type point matching is done. Whole process took 23 minutes on this computer. And we got plenty of type points. Okay, I'm going to go ahead to the next step. I'm going to do the calibration. What I want to do is, so I'll clear the selection and then select all the angle images. And there's 6 of them. And I want radial standard. Okay, that matches up with the tutorial. And run that. Calibration is done. Again, select all the images. Choose Orient Final in my operation steps. And run it again. Okay, about 30 minutes later, and the camera calculations are complete. The next step is to do a 3D preview. I'm going to head on down to 3D preview and start that up. Okay, it's done. Let's take a look at the result. And it looks pretty good. And the next step is to add the ground control point data and process it. So the next step would be to GCP Bascule. I'm going to open the XML file that was included with the download. And that brings in the points that they measured. Now, one of the points, this one, 1131, it doesn't show in any of the documents. If I bring over the original PDF, it should be on facade number 1. There's a 1113, but no 1131. And no PDF file showing where it is. So I think that one is just missing. So I'll just get rid of that one by pushing the X over here. And next step is to create the measurement files, and this copies it into the project folder. And just push save. And it's in. Okay, next step is to put 0.1001. So we select point 1001. And we want to use it on images 5898 and 5899. So I'm going to clear the selection. Facade 1. Five eight nine eight and 5899. And I push the set regex and push the init button. And that's an out of date warning message. Right, we have the image in. 1001 is in the lower left hand side. And it looks like a dot. So that's what I'm looking for. Okay, click on the button in the list here, or rather the point. It's down here in the lower left. Now click. And in the other image, take it and drag it over into position. And then right click and validate it. That turns it black to show that it's complete and is valid in both images. So I can exit. The next point is 1002. So I'll push select point. 1002. That's in images 5883 and 5. 5883, 5885. Set the regex and init. And ignore the message. Okay, this one is in the lower right hand corner. So I choose it in the list and find it in the first image, left click, go to the second image, and drag it into position. Right click and validate. That finishes point 1002. And the final point is 1121. So I'll select that point, 1121. Send the images 5893 and 5896. Going back to my reference, it shows us in the middle top of the building. I'm going to go ahead and open up 1121. That shows us pointing to this little mark here, close to the center. This shape here. Okay. Okay, I have the images selected, set regex, and init. Okay. Select it in the list, and find it in the image. It's this mark right here, and find it in the second image. And drag that over here. And validate. File and exit. Close that. That's all the points we need for the initial measurements. So I select all the images and press this initial points to run the first GCB bascule. And that's done. Now I want to select all the facade images, so I'll deselect the angle images. And come down to this Define 2D Points Continued section to validate the points. Okay, and we're in. And what this step does is it uses those previous points to predict where the points should be. And I'll go through all the points in the list here and verify them in all the photos that they appear in. And it's easiest to do it one point at a time. I'm going to start with the original point, 1001. I'm going to select it in the list. Now these images are the side of the building. All their numbers start with 2, and all points in the front of the building, they start with 1. So anywhere I see a side view like this, like in these 4 images, I want to refute those. So I see 1001, I'll right click and refute. And it zooms in, I can go to the other images and refute them. They return red. Refuted and refuted. I'll right click here and change the images to bring up a new set. It does show the front view in this lower right-hand corner. I'm going to go down, find it, and you see the prediction put it really close to where it should be. So I just slide it over a little bit. All the other images are on the side of the building, so those will be refuted. But you want to do the validation first because of that zooming factor. So I'm going to validate, then go to the other images and refute them. And again, right-click on the list, 1001, change images, and go in and validate and refute them. It is. Zoom in and move and validate. And that's it. The first point, 1001, has been defined in all the images. And from here on forward, it's just the same thing over and over again for all the points. So 1002 will be next. So I'll right-click and change images for that. Okay, at this point I can't tell where 1112 is. I'm going to skip that one. Okay, maybe I think I can see it. Looks like there's 3 there, maybe 4 in a row. Want the third one over? Okay, I'm going to say it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that spot is where it should be. I'm going to mark this one as dubious. It may be the same as refuted. Again, it's at a shallow angle, so I'll mark this as dubious. Okay, and that's it for the facade 1 images. Now to get started on the facade 2 images. Starting with 2001 in the lower left. Okay, 2112 is the last point. So what that looks like. Right, so a little hanging bit on the edge. Set that as dubious and refute all the others. Right click, change images. And these are all facade ones, so that 2112 doesn't belong in any of them. So they will be refuted. Okay, it's already been found in these two images on the right. The show is green, so I'll refute it in the other images. Yep, lost track of where it was. You can just hover over on the list to highlight it in the images in blue. I need to refute this one. And it's done. All the images show black. They've been fully processed. So I can exit out of here. Okay, all the 2D points have been defined. Now it's time to run the second bascule. And let me check I'm going to select all the images. I'm going to select all the images. So I'll select all images and run the second GCP bascule for the final 2D measurements. And that was nice and quick. I head over to Calibration step. Instructions say the uncertainty is 0.02. I'll change that here, 0.02. Everything else is the same. And I'll run the compare. And this process should take about 5 or 6 minutes. And it's done in less than 4 minutes. That was much faster than I expected, but that's good. Everything is green. So I'll go ahead and do a 3D preview. And we can check to see if the orientation is correct now. All right, that's done. Close this, get it out of the way, and zoom in. And that looks pretty good. Everything is right side up. Okay, next step I want to do is I want to just mask out just the two walls here, and then go on to the next step. I'll make a 3D mask. And middle mouse wheel inward. Selection, point selection, or just push F9. I'm going to click around the walls. And right click and spacebar to select it. and File and Save Selection Info, and exit. Now to do the dense point reconstruction, use mask is automatically checked already. It says we want MicMac for the mode. We want to deselect the angle images. Right, and start that off. This will take a few minutes, so pausing the video again. 18 minutes. The dense cloud is complete. Let's see if it loads up. There it is. Okay, that last bit of video was me getting confused because I was running into some bugs when running the program. As you can see here, the model is loaded and is centered up on the screen, whereas before it was off to the side, and that was the bug and giving me a great deal of confusion. So I wanted to, for that section of the video, just zoom in on the model to show it. Show that it's right side up, because we have the blue z-axis going upward. Then I wanted to show that you can display the ground control points by clicking that checkbox and then selecting the ground control XML file that was created in the GCP Bascale step. And that brings those in, and you can use the name size here to increase the size. And that can just be used as kind of a check to be sure the points are appearing in the right place. And this shows that they are. Okay, the next section of the video is going to continue. The model won't be visible in the 3D view, but all the steps are good. And the next step is to select the facade 1 images and then run this next command. So I'm just going to clear the selection and select the facade 1. And shift and select. Okay, that should be the facade 1 images. And run this next command. It should take about a minute to run. Okay, that's complete. It checked the local repair. We would run the PIMS to MNT with the facade 1 images selected. Okay, start that off. Yeah, that should take about 8 or 9 minutes to run, so I'll pause. Okay, that took a little longer than expected. I was using the computer for other things, and that really slowed it down. But we're back. It succeeded. And we'll save the depth map. Put it on the desktop. Depth map is a fine name. There it is. Took a little bit of time for it to show up. And I think my computer is still recovering from all that stuff I was doing at the same time that the MicMac processes were running. And my antivirus is messing it up. Allow app. Get that out of the way. Open that up with Photoshop and see what it looks like. Okay. Okay, and that's what the depth map looks like. Not much to see there. Change the preview option, see if it. But yeah, that's what it looks like. I wasn't expecting much. Let's close that out. Important thing is I can see something happened. And go back to MicMac. I'm going to check my notes over here. Okay, it's just a matter of running Tawny now. Push that button. Now let that process run, and I won't use the computer for anything else while it's doing it. And should be back in a few minutes for the final result. Okay, and it's done. It took about 7 minutes, which is normal for what I would expect it to take. I'm going to close that and save the photo mosaic. And I'll just call it photo mosaic. And there it is on the desktop. Pretty big file. See if we can open up in Photoshop. Okay, there it is. High resolution image. This is at 10%. There it is at 100%. And the total image size, 11,826 by 6,512. Okay, well, that pretty much ends it. Wanted to get to the point where we create a ortho photo, and here it is, and it does look the way it's supposed to look. One thing I wanted to do, and which I was doing earlier, is to take a look at the cloud using MeshLab. It had 8 million points, which is a little bit too much for the GUI. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can load that up here and take a look. There's the point cloud file. And there it is. I'm going to turn off shading. Okay, and that's going to be it. So, got through the process of running through the Pierrerue tutorial using ground control points to define the scale and orientation, and then creating an orthophotomosaic image that could be used to, I guess, make measurements. All right, I guess that's it. Thanks for watching.